How about now? I've been doing this all this time without the audio. Oh my goodness. Okay. Can't hear the audio, and I've been going on for 10 minutes. Oh man. Oh, I feel a certain way right now. Um, Let me see, main. Okay. Okay, Rick, would you like me to show you at the very beginning? Would you like me to go to the very beginning to show you the steps that I've taken? Um, okay. Yeah, basically, what I did, Rick, and I'm glad I'm just doing this as a test, I will get better, is yesterday I did a drawing in, actually, I'll show you. Yesterday, Rick, I did a drawing in Procreate on my iPad, and I did the Legend of Zelda right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this drawing and bring it into a couple programs because I just my workflow, and I'm going to add motion graphics to it. So here we go. So what I did is one of the biggest things that I was telling is the biggest thing, and you can appreciate this, and people that work in computers, in graphic design or IT, metadata, label your files, use your filing system, have a system and make sure it works because you're going to be using one program, you're going to use the metadata from that, and you're going to take it into two programs. So we're going to start in Procreate, and I've labeled all my layers. And you see earlier, like here's the sword layer, boom, title layer, boom, grass, boom, link outline, link, back and forth, link sketch, I turn that off, mountain. You see all these layers are far away, birds, clouds. I have a total of 14 layers if you count the background. I labeled them. It's gonna make your life a lot easier because if not, it would have defaulted layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4. Trust me, I've worked on projects before where the person doesn't label their layers, and that is time consuming and it's unneeded. Take the time to do it in your prep. You're gonna save yourself a lot of time. From here, I am going to share the project, and I'm going to use a Photoshop document project. And you could use, finish one like a JPEG, a PNG. The reason you want to use Photoshop in this one is because it saves all your metadata. It saves your layering. It saves your transparencies. It saves the name. Highly important for when you bring that over into your graphic motion projects. Now, so I did that, and let's go back into Pixelmator. I actually opened this up into Pixelmator Pro. What I did was File, let's do Close, File, New. I have a blank document. It's the last one I used. And I also created in here, I did the pixel style for the measurements. I did what my screen size was. So you see it matches perfectly what my canvas was in Procreate. I'm going to take and drop desktop, downloads, Zelda Photoshop. Drop that into my layers. And where to go. You see when I transferred, I dropped this in to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Everything is sword, title, grass, link outline, link, mountains, far away. All my layers are there. And I just turn them back on. You can kind of see an idea of how this project was created. Once we get there, I've got my project in Pixelmator Pro. And I might have been able to take this and dropped it directly into Photoshop, but I want to make sure I had everything kind of cleaned up. So I like Pixelmator. To be honest with you, I like the way Pixelmator does this. Then I can export it. I export it, I would save it. And then in the format, here's where the cool magic is. You have common formats, so you could save it as a flat image, a PNG, JPEG, or you can go to the apps. You can save this as a Pixelmator Pro document, a Photoshop document. Right here, important, motion project. Save it, export it. And this will export it where a place that you want to save it as. So taking that project, come into Motion, open Recent. There's my Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Oh, it didn't move over. Pixelmator Pro, Motion. All right. I'm actually now in Apple Motion. I've created a 10-second project. I can play it, nothing happens. That's because we haven't added any motion to it. Real important, you see, here is all of my layers and they're labeled. I have everything that I did from ProCreate. I brought it into Pixelmator Pro to kind of set up the canvas, to set up my project. Now I bring this into Pixelmator Pro, or Motion. And there's so much that you can do with Apple Motion. And I really just kind of want to show you what is possible. I'm going to take the clouds. I'm going to find the clouds. And there's a lot of things that you can do. Like I said earlier, there's no right way, no single way to create. There's many different ways that you can get from point A to point B. So clouds, I'm going to actually, if I go into the inspector, I can add a behavior, basic motion. I could do a what they call a motion path. And I will move the clouds from one area to the other. Now this would help too if I had a lot more clouds, and I can do that. So if I play it, and you see right there that for the 10 seconds, it's actually going to create a motion path of my clouds. I can shorten that up to kind of create a smaller motion. If I go to the very beginning and create just some subtle motion. You see how the clouds just kind of move for that 10 seconds. I can also shorten that motion path play it, and it starts. You know, very subtle motion. So I like that. I like that so far. But let's get a little in depth with it. Very good question. Very good question. Are you able to export the completed piece as a video for iMovie? Yeah, I can export this video. That's why I'm doing it in Apple Motion. I can export it as a finished video. I could post that finished video iMovie, Final Cut Pro, Premiere. I could also make this video, and actually that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to post it up on my social media. So you have, if you saw the other image that was just a flat image, Yeah, I'm going to be able to export it. I'll show you that here in a little bit. What I want to do is I want to take this cloud, I can duplicate it, so I actually have two clouds. Now if you look, I can make motion paths for both of them. But I will take this second cloud, and what I'll do is offset the X position. Now watch this. So now my screen has clouds in it. And you kind of see that it just, that whole time, the clouds are moving. Let me know what you think. Thanks, nice, thank you. Yeah, Rick, get a hold of me after this. We'll work on putting some intros together. So I got the clouds. Now the second thing I want to do is I can move the birds. And I can be honest with you, I could create animation for the birds with their wings, you know, going back and forth. But let's say I don't want to do that, you know, for per se, because really I don't have 30 seconds of animation already timed up. So I will find where I put the birds. And you know what would be cool? Let's put them in between the two layers of the clouds. So I'll take the birds, and I put them in between the clouds. I can add another basic motion path. Let's do this. Let's kind of like they're coming towards Link. I'll play that. How about a better idea? Let's reverse it, and they're going to be coming up out of the mountain, above the mountain. So just a couple things that I'm moving the layers. How about, it's cool that I have the title there, but let's pop in that title at the very end. And so what I'll do here is I've got my sword, I've got my title. I'm going to add an object. I'm going to add a new group. And I'm going to put my sword. I'm going to put my title in. Let's see if I remember how to do so. Yeah. Keyboard shortcuts are your friend. And I'm going to name this group title group. I'm going to, let's see, boom, it comes up. Maybe about 5 seconds in. Let's fade this in. So we're going to take our title group, we're going to trim it. Pops on. Oh, we can do better than that. Let's fade this in. Go up to another behaviors. Basic motion. Fade in and out. Let's fade it in about 30 frames. So it'll take actually about 1 second to fade this title in. Now that's cool. However, Let's go about 7 seconds in. 8. I'm going to open this up. Let's bring in the sword at about 8 seconds in. Add the behavior again. Actually, instead of doing the fade in and out, copy it. Copy paste and add it to the sword. Trim it. See what we got so far. Legend of Zelda. Breath of the Wild. It's actually on repeat right now. Let's see. There's other behaviors that you can do, but there's also some other in the library. You know, it'd be cool if I had a radiant sun maybe coming up and out from behind those mountains. So if I go to library and I go to particle emitters, let me see what I have. Type in sun rays. Nope, nothing there. Sun. Generator. Filters. Sun rays. Okay. Oh, nice. But that's an FX. That's actually someone else's. FX Factory Pro. Gradients, fonts, particle emitters. Let me try this again. No, that doesn't work the way I want it. No. Anyway, I could find here, I could take the time to do that. One thing I do want to do is I want to take that blue mountain, the far away, and I actually want to put some distance between it. And what I mean distance is everything's flat. So there's actually no depth of field. So I want to add a behavior. I want to add a filter. And I want to use a blur. Why am I going to use a blur? Gaussian blur. Quite simply because if you see it's so sharp right now that if I introduce a Gaussian blur to that it gives you the illusion kind of like depth, like far off. Link is looking far off into this. I can also do the same thing for my clouds. Remember where I said add object, I could do a group. Clouds. And then I'm option dragging to create another Gaussian blur. The reason, and I want to up that amount. I'm going to keyframe this animation. So it's at 3. Come to the very end, keyframe it. See what we got so far. Okay, you see how it starts to blur? I could do some other animations. I could animate Link if oh, thank you, Hair Razor. Some nice tricks. These last couple of episodes have been really cool. Thank you. I'm varying up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have one day when I'm playing games, and we'll talk about games. Second episode during the week, I'm going to take on ProCreate, and I'm going to draw a picture. I'll take user requests, anything pop culture reference, pop culture picture, maybe a movie poster, maybe something coming out like a new game. I actually have a request already that's been put in. I may or may not tell you what I'm drawing until the very end so you can guess it. Then the third day, I'm going to take that file and I'm going to bring it into Motion Project, Apple Motion, and I'm going to create blurs. I'm going to create a motion graphic. And just got me an idea of, I'm going to go up to my title and I am going to, title group, I'm going to add a Gaussian blur just to kind of have that feeling. Filters, blur, Gaussian blur. Start here, move the keyframe, add a keyframe. Come to the very end, add another keyframe, and put it back to 0. So now it's going to blur in, and then it's going to blur out. Let's see, the grass. Now this might be getting a little too complex for what I want to do today, so I'm going to take the lights off. But I can add a light to the picture. One thing I can do for the group, let's see, behaviors. Can I do something with Black Adam? Yes, I can. I can do something with Black Adam. I can actually give me a picture to draw and take requests here. So I've got Ray. Hello, Chrissy. So what we'll do is I've already got one for next week for a project. So I'll take Black Adam. If there's any requests, just drop them into the chat and I will get to them. That will create motion. Let me add one last thing here. Filters. because we want to have it cinematic. We got to have a fade in. Fade in, fade out. 1 second, you got the birds. All right. I think that's good enough. But you know what? I want to export this as a movie. Best. This is where I go up to the share. Export movie, default. Zelda Breath of the Wild. It takes my export movie. Settings. Video and audio. I don't have any audio. We'll add audio next time. H.264. Yeah, that will work. Canvas size, color, tire project, action save only. Next file, 61.1. Let's see here. I want to save it in Zelda Breath of the Wild, my Pixelmator projects, save. It's going to make the file. And it was successful. And I'm going to show it. You ready for this magic? There we go. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. 10-second looping video. I will be putting that up on my Facebook here in a little bit. So what did we learn today? Well, just like anything else, pop culture, anyone can create. We can take anything we want and create. So you saw how pretty much I just think of it like cooking. I took the ingredients, I made all the ingredients and I put them together in Pixelmator Pro for my iPad. I moved that over into, I took it all into ProCreate on my iPad. I made sure the biggest thing is label my ingredients, label my layers, metadata, media management. I cannot stress that enough. That is the difference sometimes between a good and a great is how they handle media management, because when we start to collaborate, that's where we can't read each other's minds. The more we do, a little bit of prep work goes a long way. Taking that media management, bringing that over to Pixelmator Pro, setting up the project, making sure everything looks good, kind of prepping it, then bringing it into Apple Motion. And I'm a little rusty on Apple Motion, I ain't gonna lie, but there's so much that I can create with Apple Motion that the more I do, the better I get. And one thing that I want to say too is edit, create with your end goal in mind. So if I know in the future that I'm going to take a drawing that I make and make it into a motion graphic project, I might organize it differently. I might not draw it flat on everything on one page. I'm going to do different layers so I can go back and animate it. And maybe I take certain things that I do. One thing, for example, I will show you, if I can find it, Pixelmator Pro, current application, out, motion. Is I'll take my project, library, replicators, and type in birds. See if I have anything for generators. No. Let's see. If I brought these birds into okay. If I take the birds, back them up some, move the birds behind the mountains, well, look at that. Mountains, far away mountains. Oh, I might have to create another group. Now let me play it. But let me also turn off my birds. Remember how I said to make sure that you label your media? Imagine if I didn't, how hard it would be to find my birds. Faraway mountains, glassy birds, clouds, title group. So it's something different. There's a lot that you can do with Pixelmator. All right. Want to say thank you for watching. The whole point of this episode was to show you what you can create, what you can just take a still image, add that motion graphics, add a bunch of movement to it, and it's a more exciting piece. Just think of if I do the grass there, I could animate the grass, kind of the wind blowing. I could put some music to it, put some sound effects like maybe some birds chirping, some of the wind howling through. Anything that we can create is possible. So thank you for watching. Put those put those suggestions in the comments on what you would like to see me draw or create, from still image to motion graphic. Have fun with pop culture, live it, watch it, play it, create it, enjoy it, and most of all, delve on. We will see you next time.